Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I hope you've all been well. So recently I went to two different bookstores and I got two different books which I'm super excited for. One of them is this one, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, which I have read before like several years ago and I liked it. I found this really nice copy. It's hardcover and it looks really pretty. Like it's really nice. So I was really excited to find this and buy it. I also got House of Leaves, and I know nothing about this book except for the fact that the format is super cool and I just felt like buying it. It was a bit of an impulse buy, but no regrets because it is really nice and I am super excited to read it. I also went to the library and checked out this book, which I am super excited to read. I read another book by the same author and I really loved it, so I'm hoping that this one is just as good as that one too. Anyway, I don't really know what my reading plans for this week are, but we'll just see how it goes. Last month I read the first 4 books in A Chorus of Dragons and I don't know what it is about the series that's keeping me captivated. The first book I liked but had my reservations about. The second book I did not like at all, but for some reason I continued reading the series. The third one I would say is my favorite so far, and the fourth was okay. The last book in the series came out fairly recently, The Discord of Gods, which I picked up from the library and I'm super excited to start. I do not know what to expect from it at all because the series has been so wild and so many things are going on that I honestly do not know what to expect. Anything could happen in this book, literally. I don't know, we'll see, but I think that this final book will finally help me make up my mind about the series. It's gonna either make or break the series for me. I can't even say I have high expectations because I don't know what I expect at all. I'm hoping that it's good though. Olivia is getting married.
Oh god, my head hit for a second. Oh sorry, did I ruin the video?
No. It's very hot. Yeah. We're
waiting to, I don't know what we're waiting for to start, honestly.
Yeah, we've been waiting for a while, and we have this little fan. It's quite helpful. I actually started filming this reading vlog several months ago, and I lost all of that footage from the very beginning. So I'm just gonna do a little recap here of the footage that I am missing. I had gotten this book from the library and I was very excited to read it. It basically follows this girl who has to break into this really dangerous prison that no civilians are allowed in, and she had to break this prisoner out, I believe. And there was dark magic involved and there was blood magic involved, and it sounded very fascinating and dark, and I was really excited for it. A few bookish updates. This book, I haven't read a single word of it. I haven't read it and I don't want to anymore, to be completely honest with you, so I'll just be turning it into the library. Maybe I'll give it another shot another time, but I feel like the motivation that I had to read this back then is just gone, and I'm just not interested anymore, unfortunately. If it sounded interesting to you, feel free to check it out and let me know how it was. This book I also haven't read, but I did read it partially. I'm on page 56, and hopefully I will be finishing this in this vlog. I am liking it. It's just, I feel like it's a huge undertaking because it's so dense and so many things are going on, and there are footnotes and so many characters who are reborn as other characters, and so many characters who are remembering their past lives in which they used to be other people, and their relationships with the people that they know in their current lives are different than the relationships with the people that they used to know in their past lives, but they're the same people. I don't know if any of that made sense, but this book is very chaotic, and I just don't feel like I've had the time that I needed to invest into this book. So hopefully I will be really focusing on this one for the next week or so and finishing it, because it's very overdue at the library. And I'm not sure if I told you guys that I was reading the Atlas 6, but I'm also reading this. I am on page 100, and I am kind of listening to the audiobook plus reading it alongside it as well, because I feel like that helps me. And I am actually really enjoying it. I don't like Libby. I find her a little bit annoying, but I do like all the rest of the characters, especially Raina. And I also really like, I think, Callum. If you don't know what this book is about, it's about the 6 people who are chosen to become part of like the secret Alexandrian society, and they have to go away and live at this place for about 2 years and work together. And I haven't read the summary and I haven't really looked into it. I'm just kind of reading it and seeing where it goes, and I feel like that's more fun for me. And also the reason I love looking at the physical copy while listening to the audiobook is because it has artwork of the main characters. It doesn't have a lot of it, but I do enjoy looking at it. It helps me like visualize what the characters look like, so hopefully I will be finishing this very soon. Another update is that I've also started rereading The Secret History, which I'm super excited about. The last time I read it, I had a copy from the library, but this is finally a copy that I own. It was gifted to me by Sabine from Sabine's Book Nook, so thank you so much. I'm finally getting around to my reread, and I'm so excited to annotate this one. I'm not going to be talking about it in this vlog because it's part of another vlog, but I am really excited. So I've just been listening to the audiobook while watering the plants, and I am interested to know what the backstory is between Ezra and Nico and Libby, because there's definitely something going on that I don't know about yet. But so far, I don't like Ezra at all. Also, I think I might have misjudged Tristan and Libby's character a little bit, because Tristan came off as super badass, but in that chapter that I just listened to, the one where, spoilers, but they were just attacked overnight and Tristan and Libby are kind of stuck together, securing the perimeter, and Tristan's just like, what the hell's going on? I'm gonna die. And Libby's the one who's like taking care of everything. So Libby actually is kind of badass, I have to admit. And I'm excited to see how the dynamics between the 6 different characters will change throughout the book, because there already is some contention between Callum and Parisa, it seems, and Tristan now has a bit of respect for Libby and he didn't before, so I'm excited to see how these relationships grow and change. exciting news. I have finished the Atlas 6 and I have so many opinions. I knew that something was up with Ezra. I didn't trust him from the very beginning because he was just sketchy from the very beginning, and I am shocked, to say the least. I'm speechless, in fact. I don't even know what to say about it. I don't know what to think about it. I did not like the ending. The ending is giving me lots of distress at the moment. But I loved everything else about this book. I feel like this book has a lot of mixed reviews, and everything that other people hated about this book, I loved. Let's circle back to the characters. I did not like Tristan at the very beginning, but by the end, I loved Tristan. Honestly, like one of my favorite characters. I liked Callum at the very beginning, and by the end, I really did not like him. In the beginning, I did not like Parisa, but by the end, I liked her. And Libby, like, I don't know, I am kind of unsure about her throughout the entire book. And I feel like the narration style of this book is very unique. It's not like conventionally narrated, I feel like. It's kind of a mix of small little time jumps and also point of view jumps, but also stream of consciousness. And often throughout the books, there are scenes that are just kind of like snappy dialogue and not really a lot of writing and paragraphs and descriptions, just like boom, 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 like dialogue, dialogue, dialogue. And that really helped speed up the pace for me, and I actually really enjoyed that. I feel like that made the book fun to read. And also, there are some fun quotes that other people have said are too dramatic and too cringy and just quotes that are trying too much, but I personally love them. There's one quote in particular that I really love that I wrote down, and it basically says, "No one here is good, knowledge is carnage, you can't have it without sacrifice." That quote kind of reminded me of the whole beauty is terror scene in The Secret History. I feel like the concepts are very similar, and there are other scenes like that in this book that also reminded me of dialogues and scenes from The Secret History. And I don't know if that's just me pulling comparisons. I for sure would not put this on the same pedestal as I do The Secret History though, but I did thoroughly enjoy this book. It was easy to read, the characters were easy to understand, the dialogue was easy to get through, and the plot also was really easy to get through. I'm not sure what I want to rate this, but right now I'm thinking 4 stars. Another book that I started reading on my commute to work this morning is The Inheritance Games, which I am also really enjoying. The Inheritance Games is about this girl named Avery who suddenly finds herself insanely rich because this guy who has died has written her into her will, even though she doesn't know him, has never met him, and doesn't even know who he is. And he, for some reason, instead of passing down his estate and all of the things that he owns and the money that he has down to his family, he passes it down to her. So I'm really enjoying that, really excited to see where it goes. Next up, this book is severely overdue at the library, so I'm hoping to really speed through this today and tomorrow and maybe the day after, I don't know. It's pitch dark outside, but it's only like 7 o'clock at night, so I'm hoping to dedicate maybe a couple hours to this today and get through a decent chunk of it. One thing really interesting going on here, and this is going to be full spoilers because I really cannot talk about this book without going into the details. Our main character, Kieran, is remembering his past life, and in his past life, he used to be this immortal named Sarek. But Sarek got betrayed by his brother named Relosvar, and he turned into this demon type of thing that got locked away. So his demon name is Volkaroth. And basically what happens is that Kieran turns into Volkaroth, but while he's Volkaroth, he cannot be Kieran, even though he's technically the same person. So they've gotten a mimic who can mimic people's appearances and basically pretend to be other people. So they've gotten this mimic to pretend to be Kieran while Kieran is actually Volkaroth. So the real Kieran right now is getting to know his demon Volkaroth self, and everyone else basically thinks that the mimic is Kieran. just finished The Inheritance Games and I have lots of opinions. This book was really fun. I really enjoyed it and I finished it in like 2 days, but let's get into it. I feel like this book had entirely too many characters. Like half of the people in here did not need to be in here. One such character is Max. Max is basically our main character's long distance best friend who she texts and talks to every once in a while. And I feel like it was completely unnecessary for her to be in this book because she's never like there on page. She's always someone that Avery is texting or calling and we never actually get to meet her. She didn't completely need to be in this book. Another person that also did not need to be in this book is Emily, who is this, spoilers, she's this girl who died. And okay, let me backtrack a bit. Avery wins this fortune and to be able to keep this fortune, she has to live in Hawthorne Castle Manor for an entire year. So she moves into this manor and she finds out all of these crazy things that have happened there and she finds out all of these things about the Hawthorne family. And someone tells her that the Hawthorne family is twisted and cruel and because of them a girl died. And this girl is Emily. So I was thinking like, ooh, like murder mystery, like something happened and blah, 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 blah. And it was this huge thing. Like it was made out to be this huge thing. So I was expecting it to be this huge thing. And in the end, it is not. The whole Emily situation was blown way too much out of proportion and we shouldn't have spent as much time on her as we did. There are so many characters in this book who are like, this is what Emily would have wanted or what would Emily have done and what would Emily have blah, blah, blah. Like who cares? Like personally, I did not care one bit because I feel like Emily's character isn't given enough importance for me to really care about what Emily would have wanted. And I feel like the whole Emily storyline was unnecessary. I love the Hawthorne brothers. There are 4 of them, Nash, Grayson, Jameson, and Xander. And I absolutely loved all of them, but I did not like Avery's weird situation going on with all of them. I couldn't tell who the love interest was because Avery had something going on with like all of them. I was like, girl, pick 1 or 2 if you want a love triangle, but like, don't be weird. I also started listening to Norse Gods by Neil Gaiman and I am really enjoying it so far. I'm only like maybe half an hour into it. I have gotten really interested in Norse mythology recently, and not just recently, like this whole past year and the year before. And I know that Norse Gods by Neil Gaiman is probably not the best source to learn about Norse mythology, but I feel like it's an easy one to get through, so I'm starting with that. And if you do have book recommendations about Norse mythology that I could look into, please do tell me. And I don't mean like fiction or like retellings, I mean like actual poetry or like educational resources, so to speak.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast.
It's not about personality matrixels and charts. It's all about the bumps in your heart.
This book last night and I don't know what to think about it. I don't think I hated it, but I also didn't like it as much as I liked some other books in this series. I feel like the characters were a bit too perfect, too strong, and had the ability to fix anything. The scale at which they were doing all this magic at was really up there, and I couldn't reconcile these really strong, perfect characters with the characters that we met at the very start of the series in the first book. They don't feel like the same people anymore, and I get why, because they essentially are not the same people anymore. They have started to remember their past lives, and some of them are even turning into their past selves, so technically they are different people, but I didn't like that. Take our main character Kieran, for example. In the first several books he was Kieran, but in this last book, not this one, but the one before this one, he became Volcaroth, and Volcaroth is basically the demon of hunger, this all encompassing black hole that wants to eat the world. And when Kieran became Volcaroth, he definitely became a different person. And then in this book, he merged Volcaroth and kind of fixed Volcaroth's soul, because Volcaroth was basically like a shard of a soul. So he kind of fixed Volcaroth and turned him into his previous self. So Kieran, Volcaroth, Sarek. After fixing Volcaroth, Volcaroth became Sarek. And Sarek is basically a god, like the sun god, and like he's powerful, and he's not the same boy we met at the very start of the series who is Kieran, because he's literally not Kieran anymore. Another thing that made it really hard for me to fully invest myself into the story is that people can come back to life from the dead, and I love characters. I'm a very character-driven reader, so when it seems like a character is gonna die, I'm like into it. I'm like, oh, please don't die, like I'm fully invested. But in this book, I just know that if they are gonna die, they're gonna come back to life, which made me less passionate about this book. This book also ended with a lot of loose threads and a lot of unfinished storylines, which makes me think that there might be another book, even though I think this was supposed to be the last book, or maybe there will be like other companion novels or like another series that spins off some of the characters here, and I don't know if I'll read them when they come out, but it really kind of depends. Overall, I think I'm gonna give this book 3 stars. Yeah, I'm so glad that I finally finished this series. If I had to pick a favorite out of all 5 books in the series, it would have to be the first one or the third one. That book aside, I also read a few others. I finished reading Norse mythology, which I also really enjoyed. I also picked up Gallant by V.E. Schwab, and I think the writing is so beautiful, but I honestly have no idea what's going on. Like, I have no idea what the plot is. So it's one of those books that I'll only really make my mind up about when I reach the end. That's all I have for this reading vlog. My name's Ishi. Thanks so much for spending time with me, and I hope your day is as wonderful as you are.